Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Power of Possibilities podcast with certified facilitator Heather MacMillian and
Hi.
myself, Hank Setala. And today our topic is ease with entities because so many people have so much like fear and trepidation and just uncertainty around entities. And I was just sharing with Heather before our broadcast, I was listening uh, to someone ask a very question like, well, what do you tell people that are like afraid of entities? And they say, well, are you afraid of yourself? Because you are an entity. You just happen to have a body. So like even starting our conversation there, like really like entities are all around. We're just now focusing on the entities that happen to not have bodies and giving people tools and framework how to work with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always so fun in any Talk to the Entities class to ask people, like, what movie, book, um, or TV show did you get, the most point of view from around the
Ooh.
spirit world or ghosts? What was it for you? Like, I'm really curious
Oh
about
my
that.
goodness. I've seen so many, but I think Poltergeist might be one of them
Yes,
because Poltergeist was like as a
the
kid, like the
tree.
guy, he's like drinking the liquor. Plus, I was like a raging lunatic alcoholic for many, many years, and like tequila is one of my drinks. And like the guy swallowed that worm, and then he's like throwing it up. There's all kinds of crazy things that happened in Poltergeist.
That was mine too. I mean, it was this whole idea. And I remember seeing that at a sleepover party at a friend's house growing up in Illinois. And there was, it was like an old farmhouse. And so there was definitely spirit activity on that property. And because it was like an old historic house in our town. And then watching that movie there just seemed to heighten all of the awareness that I was kind of resisting, not stepping into at the time because I didn't have the tools.
Yeah, definitely. And because I grew up so intuitive and I saw like a lot of things happen, I have to wonder in hindsight, knowing from access that point of view creates reality. And I
Yeah.
had watched things like Poltergeist and Exorcist and who knows what else, right? That I had a lot of things happen to me with my intuition and how spirit showed up for me that put me in a state of fear to the point where I decided, I'm going to medicate this gift, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn to alcohol. I want to shut this thing off, but that made it way worse because like getting drunk is like inviting entities. But it wasn't until years later finding, well, I trained traditionally as a medium, but then I found talk to the entities, and that gave me like tools that really empowered me to deal with any situation and not have any fear and how I would up with the spirit world.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned The Exorcist. I get that a lot. Like when I tell people, what I do and the classes I facilitate, that one comes up, right after Poltergeist as the movie that seems to inspire the most fear and misinformation around the spirit world. And in fact, that was shot here in Georgetown, DC. So there's
Ooh.
a lot of lore around that. But what if there are tools to be able to handle your awareness?
Absolutely. And I also see quite a few people watching already. If you have a movie or
Same,
if
same.
you have watched something that kind of put a negative spin on
Yeah.
things for you, comment below. Like maybe we can speak to that one specifically. And there was also the show like The Ghost Whisperer, right? And ironically, I just met Marianne Winkowski yesterday. I got to see her. She was doing a book signing. She's the movie basis for that show, and a lot of the things that they portrayed in that they kind of put a different spin on things than what the actual experiences, and just to be able to have people like from access and be able to give tools to start unwinding where we got stuck with points of view about, hey, this is how it works, because what if it works basically how you believe, and if you start to shift your point of view around that, you could have a whole different possibility with entities.
I know. And I mean, you mentioned the distracting
Yeah.
from spirit awareness. I mean, how many of you guys watching this are super aware and psychic, and what are you using to distract from your awareness? I mean, for me, a lot growing up, it would either be like food or just other distractions. Like there's so many distractions to take me away from what I was aware of because I had the point of view that I couldn't handle it.
Right. And here's the thing though, even if you like pretend that you're not aware, like all that stuff is still there. And let me give you an example. Say you're going
Yeah.
down the highway and you like put your blinders on and you're just speeding. I'm like, I don't see any police. And
Yep.
then you get pulled over, right? So like just because you're like choosing to not be aware of your surroundings does not mean that you're not necessarily impacted by the unseen world. So, what would it take for you to open up your awareness and use the unseen world to create possibilities for yourself with cooperation and things, or for things that aren't a contribution, have tools to clear them? There's like
Yeah.
a lot of different ways that you can use the tools of access to minimize the impact of things that you don't like to show up and maximize what you would like to show up, smashing through all the limitations of points of view you've been stuck with from movie, from TVs, from people, from parents.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Like we've talked about this on the show of like, how many of you guys like had imaginary friends that weren't really imaginary, beings that you were actually conversing with or engaging with energetically or otherwise. And someone said, well, that's not true, or that can't be happening to you, or that's not real. You're making this up. And then boom, a wall comes up.
That's really unfortunate with things like that. Oh, and this
Yeah.
is somebody who was saying that they watched a couple of episodes of Haunting on Hill. I haven't seen this one,
I
Haunting on
haven't
Hill House.
I
I think that's
haven't
a new
seen that.
Netflix thing. Oh, there was this one even freaked me out. There was like this one Netflix show was called Typewriter, and I think it was like from India, and they put it in like English subtitles. This thing was like, wow, they just put
Wow.
so much like an enchanted typewriter that whatever you type, like things occurred. Oh, it was really, it was good, but I mean, it could really stick people with a point of view if you're not watching it from the space of possibility. Oh, this is a really long comment. So, like, if I put this up, we won't be able to see each other. Let's see. Oh, no, it's not so bad. So, somebody was saying that I lived in a house with my parents where I would always see a dark figure.
A
It was
dark
like a
figure.
man, yes, a dark figure, dark, mysterious figure, with a long black coat and hat. I would always see him, and finally, my brother saw him as well. For the longest time, I wasn't sure if it was real until his friend said he saw him too. This scared me for a long time, but just recently, I've been getting more in tune with entities. I know I see them, I just can't distinguish as to who or what they are exactly. Anyways, it took a while for me to trust, and I think I ran out of space with being able to see that. So, but anyway, that thank you so much for the comment. That's a
Yeah,
great
thank you.
example of like as kids, instead of getting invalidated by someone, here we have people validating. So, what would it take for you to start validating your own awareness and then being open to more of that awareness? And really, what are the possibilities when you can actually receive from the spirit world and cooperate to create?
Yeah, and I mean, when I when I was, like, ready to open to this awareness, it when I took my first Talk to the Entities beginning class, it was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have to avoid this anymore. I actually here are tools that can allow me to handle this and be open to everything that's possible."
Now, out of all the tools, like what was the one that started to give you, because some people are so afraid of entities they might not even want to learn. Like
Yeah,
what
exactly.
was it that, like, what opened you up to the possibility of actually starting opening that door to the entity world? I like saying the unseen world because there's so much juicy stuff there beyond, like, that we talk to and talk to the entities, nature spirits and things, that like it's just what opened the door for you to really start exploring?
Well, getting clear on what exactly is this really, and anytime fear or resistance would come up, because that's a big topic of the Talk to the Entities beginning class is, dealing with both of those topics. Like, what is this resistance really? And what's beyond that? And then all these different tools for addressing fear and changing it, like really changing it, not just being like more relaxed with it, but like changing it.
Yeah, and there was a tool on the same one that I mentioned. I had watched a program. They had given the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real, which is people's points of view and judgments about things that you aligned and agreed with, or resisted and reacted to, that then skew how you view the world and things. And Access is chock full of tools to start whittling away those places that we have given away, disempowered ourselves in favor of empowering somebody else's judgment.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's another big topic that we address and Talk to the Entities is like, well, whose reality really is this? And what's real and true for you? Because all of Access Consciousness and Talk to the Entities, being a specialty class of Access Consciousness, is about empowering you to know what you know and what are you aware of and what are you capable of.
Now, we do have a question. This is kind of like what we can speak it to more in generally. We're not going to take this as a personal question, but can loved ones hear us from the other side? Like if your parents are in spirit, if your best friend from high school is in spirit, are what from the access view are we able to tell them things and for them to receive what we're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, talk to the entities. We're basically doing four things with the spirit world. We're clearing, and there's just like so many amazing clearings to clear things that I didn't even realize could be cleared. And then there's the communicating piece, and that's a big part of what we explore in the Talk to the Entities beginning class. Because once you've got clear on what you're dealing with and who you're dealing with, and then we can go into, well, what's possible here? And communicating is one of those. And it's a skill. It's an art form, and it's like anything. The more you use it, the more you play with it, the more you explore it, the easier it becomes, the more you just are that. So absolutely, you can communicate. And then, the more advanced pieces, which are, addressed in the Talk to the Entities advanced classes with Shannon O'Hara, the creator of Talk to the Entities, are things like receiving from entities and um, cooperating.
Yeah, cooperating is huge. 'Cause I love that like access is like the whole create with and creationship
Yeah.
with things. And it's really like when you're doing that, you're acknowledging that, hey, this is the kingdom of we. We're all here on this planet. What if we truly started to work with each other instead of against each other? Like what is possible?
Yeah. I mean, did you notice that for you that once you stepped into that, it was just so much more relaxing? Like how
Yes.
much energy do we use to refuse that?
Right. And that's one reason why if people are like me when you're younger, you might wake up a lot in night
Yeah.
and things because like all your barriers and things they kind of recede a bit and then they can get through to you a little bit easier. And one of the things that I took away from your class was the idea of office hours. So instead of having them just show up whenever, it's like, hey, Mondays at 8:30 in the morning, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to open up my awareness to whoever's there and I will talk to them. And it just really was, I don't get interrupted or blindsided by entities nearly as much because I put that declaration of will, if you will, out into the universe and it conforms to it's like they're showing up how I have kind of put the guardrails on. I don't know the best way to say it, but like it just works out really well to have it focused like that where there's actually some form and structure as to how they come to you.
Yeah, I mean, so many people find that helpful because, that there's this point of view that if you open the floodgates to all this awareness, like how will you deal with it? Um, and that's a really like pragmatic way to deal with it of like setting, boundaries of like, hey, I'd love to like communicate with you guys. I'd love to handle whatever's up during a time that works for me.
Yeah. Oh, and then also the empowerment to say no. Like I had this one
Yeah.
spirit. He like it was actually somebody from my past. I thought they were long gone, but like they wanted me to like talk to their wife and do this stuff. I'm like, yo, man, like I know that like we were close and all, but this is not a conversation I'm willing to have. You're gonna have to find someone else, or you'll have to create the perfect opportunity for it to come up with ease because this is not something I'm gonna go and blindside somebody with. Because like they're fine. You're the one who has the issue right here. But anyway,
Exactly.
we have a comment. This is the fake Andrew. I haven't seen the fake Andrew in so long because there's not
Hey,
really Andrew.
Andrew.
They're just using Andrew's account. But anyway, she said that I've recently become aware that I'm holding myself back from experiences due to a fear of being crazy or schizophrenic.
Mhm.
I was told it stems from past lives. I was unable to open with my gifts. Any like when people that think they're going crazy, anything to speak to that of being okay with being crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, access consciousness and talk to the entities has a lot of great tools for when it just seems like the crazy is like off the scale. I mean, how many of you guys have noticed that just even over the last weekend? Like I was just like, wow. Um so, you know, there's some really pragmatic tools in the access consciousness bars class. If you know bars, I say get your bars run. That's a beautiful way to invite in that sense of peace and space and possibility. And I would say the number one tool for when you think you're going crazy is, who does this belong to?
Right, 'cause, not only that, I was just thinking that if you were told when you're young that that's in your imagination and all these things, and
Yeah.
that those things come up, like, what if you think you're crazy because you're aligning and agreeing with or resisting and reacting to the points of view that society stuck you with, that the movie stuck you with, that your parents stuck you with, that religion stuck you with? There's all kinds of things where we're gonna start to maybe doubt ourselves, and I love this. I actually got this from the Talk to the Entities group. I was gonna post it later today, but I'll just show it. I just asked myself if I'm crazy, and we all said no.
I love that. That is so funny. I mean, and yeah, I mean, certainly if I was working with someone one-on-one in a class or a private session or whatever, I would get it like, well, what have you defined as crazy? And who told you X, Y, or Z? And can we just destroy and uncreate that and really get at what's true for you?
Yeah, definitely. And I know the fake Andrew, you are not local. So if you go to the Access Consciousness website and look up like a bars clinic or just practitioners, I'm sure you can find local practitioners and events in your area. And Heather, other than the facelift class, which is happening on Monday, the classes she's doing this weekend are in person or online. So you can definitely, it doesn't matter where you are for a lot of the classes, just the body process classes. Oh, I guess the one on Saturday night is also in person
Yeah,
only.
that's
Yep.
live only. So
Yeah.
come to Cleveland, come
Yeah.
play.
Well,
It's
it's
gonna
kind
be
of a
so
long
much
drive for
fun.
her. If you want to fly in, fake Andrew, I will be happy to pick you up from the airport. Maybe you can
Yay.
come in at the same time as Heather, and I can pick
I
both of you up at
know.
once.
I'm
Right?
flying in. Who else would like to fly in for this weekend? We're gonna have too much fun.
Oh, it is gonna be great. I'm so looking forward to it all. And if you are curious about what we have coming up, I'm just gonna play I put this together a little bit earlier today. It's kinda in a snapshot, all the things that are, coming up for Heather. So let me go ahead and play this, and you guys can see all the awesomeness that is coming up this weekend. There we go.
Oh, that's so exciting. I love it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and then fake Andrew
Wow.
said, "Ha they live in Colorado, that's a bit far." I know. However, it's what else is possible on the
What
Access
else is
site?
possible?
Maybe
Yeah.
if these do call to you and in person is really important for some of them, then like there are facilitators around the world, probably
Yeah.
including Colorado, that that teach these things. And again, Heather, a lot of Heather's classes she does as a hybrid, as online or in person for the non-body process stuff. But anyhow, like that's I'm so excited about this weekend and everything. And even like my kids are going to be in facelift, my wife is
Yay.
taking facelift, and it's like if you have somebody in your family and you both learn either bars or facelift or a body process, you can start like trading with each other. You
Yes.
can use the tools of access and help process each other. That has been a whole new world. Just like in the last 5 months, Anya, that's my wife, became like open to access a bit. And now when things pop up, like we start processing and actually
Mm.
having two people that are open and willing to use tools, you can plow through things and really create so much more possibility than just being you yourself and your soul. Like what else if you can really open up and building a community around this? And that's what we've done in Cleveland. We have a bars clinic on the first Thursday. We have a practitioner night. We're building a community of people that are like-minded with the tools of access that are all empowering each other to actually know that they know that they know. No, we're not crazy. and help spread the contagion of consciousness by bringing it out into the world. But one of the greatest ways, truly, like my favorite of all the access specialty classes, and I am biased, is Talk to the Entities. I felt that for me has created so much, being able to work with that world and create with it, because there's a lot more cooperative people without bodies and with. Just my personal opinion.
I love it. I love it. That is so awesome.
Cool. Heather, any anything that we haven't talked about that you feel is really pulling you to contribute during our conversation here?
Oh my gosh. Well, how much fun can we have? Like, I'm just so, so grateful. And thank you to everybody who's watching and who's curious about this. Truly, what else is possible?
Yeah, I always like to actually, we probably should start with this because we talk about it all the time. How Heather came to Access and how so many people came is with this one tool offered by Dr. Dain Heer is you ask, if I choose this, how does my life feel in 5 years?
Hmm.
And then if I don't choose this, how does my life feel in 5 years? And in this way, you're getting the feeling of how your life will change. And it's that is your knowing. And then once you
Yeah.
choose, the universe lines up to help make it happen. Just like when Magic Mike signed up for Foundation, he had no clue how he was going to pay for it, but he signed up and then the money came. So, like, what would it take for you to follow your knowing and trust that the unseen world is going to deliver to you in the most exciting, unexpected ways possible?
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I guess until next time, we'll be live streaming again on Wednesday, probably around three
Wednesday.
o'clock.
Yes.
Yep. And then we will hopefully see some of you in class this weekend. It's going to be too much fun. So we hope to
Yay.
see you there. Until next time, take care, everyone.
Bye.